What's going on, you guys? Richard Doyle coming at you, Manifest Motorsports. Oh my goodness. We just got back from California. It was Car Week out in Monterey, so a lot of awesome auctions. They had Russo Steel, R&M, Concours is this week. They also had Bonhams and Meekum as well. And I believe that there was, and Pebble Beach too. So about 5 different auctions. So really, really cool. A lot of cool cars. I saw some cars that I'll probably never see again. Nissan Skyline, the first gen. That's on my Instagram, so check out my Instagram if you guys want to see that. And I'm going to be posting some more of the cars too. One of the cars I actually detailed was it was a 2017 Ford GT. And that's actually what I want to make this video about. Because it's a car that I'll probably never see again. And I feel blessed to have even had the privilege to detail it and also have it in my personal care. So really, really cool. So I kind of want to touch on that real quick, and then also touch on some of the other cars that I was able to work with too. So I'm gonna go into the cars that we worked with first, and then I'll kind of talk about this Ford GT. So we were doing a couple different celebrity cars. We did Matt LeBlanc's Slant Nose 911. It's red with gold wheels, really, really cool. Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, we did his Nova. It was maroon with a white top, and then a Fiat 500, really, really cool car. Ewan McGregor's Buick Skylark, all white, really, really cool car. And then John Cena's Ford GT 2017. It's so funny how I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years in that area, and it's just such a blessing to, I'm starting to do more celebrities' cars. I've done Lupe Fiasco's car too. And I don't say these things to toot my own horn or, anything like that. It's a blessing. It's a blessing knowing that if you work hard and you do what it takes to go after your dreams and your goals, they become reality a little bit at a time. And so it's really, really cool. And so this was another example of that. Again, these are cars that I didn't expect to see in my lifetime, let alone be able to work with them and detail them. So really, really cool stuff. But I want to talk about that John Cena 2017 Ford GT. So I heard that was a really controversial car, and I remember probably about 6 months ago, there was an article on Yahoo, I believe it was, that was talking about how John Cena was getting sued by Ford over this car. But I never really read the article. I'm not a news person at all. And so when this hit the block, people were saying, talking about the controversy of this car. And I was like, what is going on with it? Like, why is it so controversial? So I'm going to get into the backstory of that, and then we'll kind of talk about, what it was like to actually take care of it. So the story goes that with these Ford GTs, only 500 of them were made. And you had to actually fill out an application to be considered to own this car. And the idea for Ford was they wanted to put it in the hands of influential people that would grow the car's reputation. So John Cena was actually one of those people that applied for it and got it. He has a YouTube channel as well. I believe it's called Auto Geek, where he actually reviews the car. So he was one of the privileged ones to actually get his hands on this car. Now, he owned the car for a little bit of time, and he ended up selling the car to a dealership out in California. The issue with it was that Ford, in the contract, put a clause stating that anybody that owns this car cannot sell it for 2 years, period. And I believe the reason for that was they wanted the reputation of the car to grow before the general public could start getting their hands on it, therefore pushing the value of the car up. When I guess what happened was when John Cena went to the dealership to buy this car, it was not in the contract at all that he couldn't sell this car. So when he sold it, Ford didn't like it. They ended up suing him. He countersued, and what ended up happening was they settled out of court. And I guess John ended up having to pay X number of dollars. I don't know what that amount was, but he had to pay this money to Ford for breach of contract. I guess that's what happened. But it was cool to be able to work with the car, and the reason why is because it's actually been sold twice now already, and it's not even been a year yet. And I guess part of the lawsuit was Ford had the ability to take the car back if they wanted to, but they chose not to. So they just left it with that dealership in California, who then sold it through Stone Steel Auction, which was really, really cool. So when I got to the auction itself, I didn't really see the car, to be honest with you. I didn't see it until they started doing preview. So how the auction works is cars start showing up on Monday and Tuesday, and then it opens up to the general public on Wednesday, where the general public can come in and start seeing all the cars. And I believe on Wednesday it was when they started showing off the car a little bit. And this is only to bidders. This wasn't, I don't think it was to the general public on the first couple days. And so it came freshly detailed. So there was no buffing and polishing, no nothing like that required. They actually had it behind like a velvet rope the whole time, so you couldn't even get close to the car. And so I don't think I saw it at all on Wednesday, but Thursday came and I ended up seeing it, and it was just, it's a really cool looking car. I'll post a picture for sure so that you guys see it, but really, really cool car. So what my job was, Thursday, Friday, and then I believe Saturday is the day that it sold. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, what my job was to basically uncover the car and recover it at night and then in the morning. And the reason why you do that is there's a lot of marine layer in California, and marine layer will cause moisture, and it gets the car dirty fast, and the paint gets really sticky and things like that, and it's just not cool. It's not. It can be tough to deal with, so you want to make sure you stay on top of it. So we use car covers, and we use like plastic bags. Essentially, they're big car plastic covers that go over it. So the first couple of days, that was what our job was to uncover it and recover it at the end of the day. Last day ends up coming, and that's the day that it's running. And so as a detailer, when you're at the auction, your job is to wipe down every single car. You want to make sure it's immaculate before it hits the block. So they're going to run it at this point, and it's getting the exact same treatment as it did before. I didn't get a chance to drive it. That's okay. With cars like that, I really don't want to drive it. But what ended up happening was they ended up moving it to just pre-staging, so right before it hits the block. And then, like I said, they took a velvet rope and kind of like, and they don't do this for many cars, but they'll take a velvet rope and it'll go all the way around the car itself so that people can't touch it and put their fingerprints on it and things like that. They want the car immaculate. So during that process of it being moved from its location to the pre-staging, that's when we start to do our work before it hits the block. That's when we start detailing it, wiping it down, making sure it's completely spotless, keeping people away from it. Making sure that it's getting the most proper care. So we're like bodyguards for this car, and it sounds a little crazy, right? It sounds a little bit weird, but it's a car that, again, like I mentioned, you're not going to see. I'll be lucky to see another one in my lifetime. So that's really what it was our job was to cover it and uncover it, and then before it runs, we got to stay with the car at all times. That's number one. That's the most important car at that time. So you're walking alongside of it, you're wiping it down, you're making sure that it's spotless, you're making sure nobody's touching it, you're making sure that it's in the most pristine condition, better than when it left the plant, is essentially the idea behind it. And so it was really, really cool. And so the car ended up selling, sold for $1.4 million, which the original sticker on it was $450,000. So it sold for $1 million over what it had sold for from the dealership itself. So it was really, really cool. And then, of course, after it ended up selling, we had to go back and cover it. And then I got some pictures with it. So if you guys want to see those pictures, again, head to my Instagram. But that's kind of what it's like at the auctions with these cars, is they get basically red carpet treatment, as if it's a celebrity or something of extreme value. And that's what we do, is we take care of these cars. We make sure that they're seen in a light of art, and they're seen in a light of, we want these things to go for as high dollars as we possibly can. And the reason why is because if they go for higher dollars, the client stays happy, we stay happy because they're getting a good product, and it's a blessing too, because again, you're touching cars that you would have never touched before. So to have a car like that in personal care and in and just being able to work with it and being able to really check out all the smooth curves on it, feel the paint, check out the interior, do all that stuff outside of driving it. Of course, I don't think I'd want to drive it, but you get to do everything with the car outside of driving it, which is really, really cool. So it was a really awesome experience, and it's something that like I said, you don't expect when you start a business for something like this to happen, let alone 3 years after you start. So it's really, really cool. It's a blessing. I'm happy to say that I got a chance to work with it, and I know that the owner that purchased that car is getting a car that is second to none. I mean, the thing is just immaculate. It's a very spectacular car, very spectacular paint, very spectacular color, the whole nine. So I figured I'd share the story with you. It was just a car that, again, I don't think I'll ever see again, and it's something that I feel blessed to have even worked with and had in my personal care. So that's the story of the auction, and I'll come back at you guys with some more videos too here, and I'll post some pictures too. Make sure you check out my Instagram and check out my Facebook page too, as there's going to be a lot more stuff that goes on in the future with the auctions and some of the people's cars that we're working with and things like that. But that's the story of the Ford GT. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I really appreciate your support. I hope you guys have a great day, and take care.